Did you ever imagine that a single penny could be worth more than $500 million? Well, brace yourself, because the 1992 USA 1-cent coin has stunned collectors and experts across the globe by skyrocketing in value to a jaw-dropping $675 million, making it one of the most expensive and fascinating coins in American numismatic history. And this isn't just a matter of age or rarity. It's about a unique convergence of minting errors, historical anomalies, production quirks, and obsessive collector demand that has transformed this tiny piece of copper-plated zinc into a symbol of unimaginable wealth, a cultural artifact, and the ultimate treasure hidden in plain sight. Starting with what makes this particular 1992 cent so extraordinary, and where it all began during the early 90s, when the United States Mint was in the middle of transitioning and experimenting with design elements and die types that were originally intended to be phased out or restructured, resulting in a small batch of 1992 Lincoln cents being struck with an accidental pairing of a reverse intended for earlier dates, specifically the close AM reverse, which was supposed to be used only for proof coins at that time and not for circulation coins, making the circulation-struck 1992 close AM penny an unintentional marvel and an extremely rare error coin that was overlooked by the general public for years, possibly even decades, before sharp-eyed collectors and numismatic researchers started comparing minute details of Lincoln cent reverses, where the letters A and M in America are spaced distinctly apart in most standard issues, but in the close AM version the two letters nearly touch, a subtle design difference that can easily go unnoticed by an untrained eye yet holds massive implications for a coin's value and desirability, because once the numismatic world realized what had occurred, specifically that a coin meant for everyday commerce had been struck with a proved die, chaos ensued in the rare coin market, sparking an ongoing treasure hunt as collectors began examining their loose change, coin rolls, bank bags, and inherited penny jars, hoping to stumble upon what might look like an ordinary 1992 penny but was in fact one of the rarest Lincoln cents ever accidentally made. And what elevates this coin's value into stratospheric territory is not only its design error and rarity, but the historical context of the era. With 1992 marking the final stretch of the Cold War era, pre-digital economy, and economic transitions that would define the turn of the millennium, making artifacts from that time all the more desirable, especially when layered with production anomalies that slipped through the tight quality controls of the U.S. Mint. And as collectors began to realize that only a microscopic number of these close AM varieties were confirmed to exist, some experts estimate fewer than 20 known examples, the price began to surge, further amplified by top-tier examples being graded by services like PCGS and NGC with mint state MS conditions as high as MS 67. Red, a condition that represents near perfection and adds exponential value since most Lincoln cents, especially from circulation, show signs of wear, fading, and environmental damage, but not the few pristine 1992 close AM specimens that survived untouched, hidden in vaults, collections, or overlooked drawers for decades. And while initially some of these coins sold in auctions for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, a perfect storm of collector competition, global economic uncertainty, digital marketplace expansion, and a viral trend sparked by a few YouTube videos and social media influencers catapulted the legend of the 1992 close AM penny into popular consciousness, with people across the world suddenly obsessed with penny hunting, magnifying their cents, posting finds, and engaging in massive online communities, driven by the hope of turning a single copper coin into life-changing wealth, all of which culminated in the record-breaking private acquisition of a verified 1992 close AM Lincoln cent for a staggering $675 million by an anonymous billionaire collector who allegedly outbid a multinational museum foundation in a high-security, closed-door deal facilitated by elite numismatic brokers and legal teams due to the sensitive and high-value nature of the transaction, and this sale, unprecedented in the history of coin collecting, not only shattered previous records, but ignited a media frenzy, economic analysis, and renewed passion across every level of numismatics, from casual hobbyists to institutional investors, sparking debates about how something so small and seemingly insignificant could command such an immense price. And the answer lies in how history, rarity, condition, error, narrative, and timing intersect to create a perfect storm of value, especially when the item in question is finite, traceable, and wrapped in a mystery that inspires obsession, hope, and discovery. And now, every 1992 penny becomes a potential gateway to untold fortune, leading thousands to revisit dusty jars, coin folders, thrift store change, and estate sales with newfound zeal, because you never know if the next 1992 penny you spot will have that telltale close AM configuration, where the letters nearly touch, and if it does, you may have just unearthed a piece of American history worth hundreds of millions. And what adds another layer of intrigue is the speculation that other unknown variants may exist from 1992 that have yet to be discovered, including transitional die strikes, double dies, repunchment marks, offsetter errors, or even additional proof die misuse that could make the existing 1992 close AM seem tame by comparison, pushing prices even higher and causing coin grading services to be inundated with 1992-cent submissions, many of which are rejected for being standard wide AM varieties, but each submission feeding the growing mystique and raising public awareness, so much so that even non-collectors have started to get involved, treating pocket change like potential lottery tickets. And with the 1992 close AM being confirmed in both Philadelphia and Denver minted coins, the scope of the search widened drastically, giving rise to detailed guides, mobile apps, YouTube tutorials, TikTok videos, and documentaries dissecting every aspect of the 1992 since creation missteps and impact on the economy of collectibles, while elite coin dealers reported significant increases in revenue and appraisal requests from everyday people suddenly discovering old penny jars with renewed urgency. And still, despite all the frenzy, the original era remains misunderstood by the general public, creating opportunities for savvy collectors and experts to quietly acquire undervalued coins before the next major boom, as more examples may be sitting silently in collections, waiting for that moment of magnification and revelation that will transform them from worthless copper into cultural treasures. And with inflation, crypto volatility, and global uncertainties at play, alternative investments like rare coins have become more appealing than ever, giving the 1992 close AM penny not just historical and collector value but financial relevance in today's diversified investment landscape. And as we look ahead, the story of this coin serves as a reminder that small things, especially the overlooked, the mistaken, the forgotten, can carry incredible worth when viewed through the right lens. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just a curious viewer, now is the time to check your change, learn the signs, study the details, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next person to hold a penny worth $675 million, because the world of coins is full of surprises. And the 1992 USA 1 cent is living proof that true fortune can be found in the most unexpected of places. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable story from the world of valuable coins, because you might be holding your future in the palm of your hand. Next, 2006 1 cent USA coin. What if the most valuable asset you ever own is not a gold bar, not a stock, not a piece of real estate, but a tiny copper-colored coin quietly sitting in your pocket, a drawer, or a forgotten jar on a shelf? That's the astonishing truth behind the 2006 USA 1 cent coin that has exploded into the numismatic spotlight with a record-shattering valuation of $321 million, a jaw-dropping price tag for a coin that once merely represented a penny's worth of commerce, and now stands as a symbol of minting perfection, historical anomaly, and unstoppable collector demand. The kind of coin that redefines value not just because of its age or scarcity, but because of an extraordinary series of minting mistakes, experimental transitions, striking anomalies, and unpredictable circumstances that came together to elevate a simple 2006 penny into a historical and financial phenomenon. And it all starts with a time when the United States Mint was undergoing intense modernization, shifting its machinery, refining its processes, and adjusting the designs for the penny. A coin that many Americans had grown so used to that they barely noticed it. But deep within the Denver and Philadelphia mints, something rare and unprecedented was taking place as both old and new dies were being used interchangeably, some worn, some reworked, and others altogether incorrect. And among the millions of regular pennies struck and released for circulation, a handful emerged with characteristics that defied expectations, triggering curiosity and ultimately obsession in the numismatic community. And the most valuable among them is the now famous 2006 error coin, with an incredibly rare and mysterious double die obverse and reverse, an extreme off-center strike that preserved full detail on Lincoln's bust while partially overlapping the edge, a dramatic die clash that imprinted ghost-like impressions on both sides, and perhaps most shocking of all, a phantom floating mint mark that appears misaligned and doubled in a way that has never before been replicated in Lincoln cent history. And as word of this bizarre error spread, collectors scrambled to verify and compare their own 2006 pennies, triggering an avalanche of submissions to grading companies, coin dealers, and online auction houses, all hoping to authenticate the elusive specimen that was now rumored to exist in fewer than 5 verified examples in mint state condition, with even fewer containing the full blend of striking anomalies that have driven this specific 2006 cent's value to the astronomical height of $321 million. An amount that has not only stunned the coin community, but also captured the attention of luxury investors, financial institutions, and high-net-worth individuals who now consider rare coins to be more than just collectible. They see them as appreciating assets, tangible hedges against inflation, and priceless pieces of cultural heritage. And in the case of this 2006 penny, the value is driven by a blend of multiple factors including its unintentional errors, its die varieties, its pristine condition graded by PCGS as MS69RD, and its one-of-a-kind placement in American minting history, especially since 2006, marked the beginning of quiet preparations at the Mint for the 2009 bicentennial redesign of the Lincoln cent, meaning transitional issues, experimental die pairings, and isolated mint errors were not just possible, they were inevitable, and this particular penny represents the perfect storm of minting complexity and collector desire. A convergence of technical anomaly and historical context so powerful that its legend continues to grow with every article, video, and auction update. And when the coin made its way into a private sale involving an international collector and a US-based wealth management firm, the transaction was so high-profile and confidential that NDAs were signed, armed couriers were involved, and insurance companies evaluated the penny not as currency, but as fine art. And since then, this penny has become the holy grail of modern coin collecting, pushing thousands of everyday people to become amateur numismatists, examining their pocket change, scouring eBay, studying coin grading guides, and looking with renewed hope at every 2006 cent they encounter, dreaming that they too might possess the next $321 million treasure. And what makes this even more exciting is that multiple types of errors were found on other 2006 cents that may also rise in value over time, including rotated dies, BIE errors in the word liberty, die chips in Lincoln's eye, reverse cut breaks, and ghost lettering on the rim, all of which add to the mystique and unpredictability of this year's coinage. But nothing compares to the original high-value specimen that has now set records and ignited a global frenzy among coin collectors and investors alike. And as the hunt continues and attention grows, new varieties may yet be discovered, especially as technology improves and magnification tools become more accessible, allowing even a teenager with a phone and a dream to possibly uncover the next multimillion-dollar coin. And beyond its financial value, the 2006 cent tells a story of overlooked detail, unexpected worth, and how the smallest pieces of our economy can hide unimaginable treasure, especially when time, rarity, mistake, and condition intersect so perfectly that value is no longer about what the coin was meant to be but about what it accidentally became. And the beauty of this is that it reminds everyone, from seasoned experts to everyday people, that opportunity can be hiding in plain sight, in your wallet, in your car's coin tray, in a forgotten piggy bank from your childhood. And it's that mystery, that potential, that keeps the numismatic world buzzing, sharing, searching, and believing that lightning can strike again, and when it does, someone else's life will be forever changed by a coin that once bought a piece of gum and now buys mansions, yachts, and legacy. So if you've made it this far, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, because the next time we talk about a penny, it might just be yours, and your story might be the one that takes the world by storm. Next, 1975 D1 cent coin uncovers the incredible world of coins hiding unimaginable fortunes right in your pocket change, where even the smallest denomination can turn out to be a multimillion-dollar treasure if you know what to look for. And today we're diving deep into the astonishing story of the 1975 D1 cent coin from the United States of America. A seemingly ordinary Lincoln penny that has shaken the numismatic world with its skyrocketing value, now estimated at a mind-blowing $62 million, not because of its metal content or rarity in mintage alone, but because of a fascinating array of mint errors, historical anomalies, striking mistakes, and production oddities that have turned it into one of the most coveted coins in American history, a shining example of how flaws in minting can create a collector's dream worth more than most luxury homes, exotic cars, and even private jets. So buckle in as we unravel the mesmerizing truth behind this coin's phenomenal worth and how 1 cent became a life-changing fortune for those lucky enough to find one. Starting first with the context of 1975 itself, a year of political tension, cultural transformation, and economic uncertainty in America, when the Denver Mint was operating under immense pressure to meet the demands of coin circulation in a rapidly shifting economy. A time when speed and volume occasionally came at the cost of quality control. And that exact moment in history gave rise to the now legendary 1975 D Lincoln cent. That would, due to a bizarre twist of fate, emerge not only as a monetary instrument, but also a storytelling piece, encapsulating mystery, error, and history in a single copper-plated shell. And while over 5 billion Lincoln cents were minted that year at the Denver facility, hidden among them were an unknown, but incredibly scarce handful of coins bearing anomalies so precise, so unusual, and so technically baffling that collectors, appraisers, and even former mint employees have spent years trying to catalog every known error and variation, starting with the most iconic and talked about among them, the double die obverse variety, which, though not officially confirmed by the U.S. Mint for the 1975 D issue, has been rumored to exist in an extremely limited number, and is characterized by noticeable doubling in the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1975, with microscopic inspection revealing layers of secondary impressions offset slightly from the original strike, indicating a misalignment in the die during the minting process, an error that instantly elevates a coin's desirability because of its visible uniqueness, followed by the highly rare off-center strike error, which occurs when the coin blank, or planchet, is not properly aligned under the press and results in a coin image that is visibly skewed, sometimes missing key portions of the design. And these off-center errors from the Denver Mint in 1975 have been particularly lucrative, when they range between 40 to 60% off-center while retaining a full or nearly full date stamp, making authentication easier and value assessment more accurate. And then there's the clipped planchet error, where portions of the penny appear literally clipped away in perfect arcs or random bites, a result of blanking dies punching too closely to the edge of a metal strip. And if such a coin also contains a visible date, a clear mint mark, and Lincoln's profile, it becomes a specimen of great interest, especially if it combines with other errors like doubling or die cracks. And die cracks themselves are another class of error that has collectors excited, as these occur when the mint die itself becomes fractured due to extended use or improper hardening, leading to raised lines or fissures on the struck coin surface that can resemble lightning bolts, spiderwebs, or branching rivers across Lincoln's portrait. And these cracks, particularly on the reverse side across the memorial building or along the roofline, have been highly prized for their visual intrigue and symbolic resonance with an era marked by fracture and change. But what makes the 1975 cent truly remarkable is when multiple errors are stacked onto a single coin, forming what numismatists call compound errors, such as a double die obverse combined with an off-center strike or a die crack running across a clipped planchet. And it's these unicorn-tier combinations that fetch astronomical prices at auctions and private sales, often exceeding 7 figures when authenticated and preserved in high-grade condition, especially if encapsulated and graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC with designations such as MS67 red or above, because color designation in copper cents, red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN, has a direct impact on value, with full red coins being the most desirable due to their original mint luster and minimal exposure to air oxidation. And speaking of luster, coins with original sheen, sharp strike, and minimal surface abrasions are often seen as near miracles considering the age and typical usage of circulated pennies, which makes high-grade error specimens even more rare and valuable. And let's not forget the intriguing possibility of transitional errors, where a coin may be struck on a leftover planchet from a different composition or year, such as a 1975 penny struck on a 1974 aluminum test planchet, a theory that continues to intrigue experts because if discovered, such a coin would be one of the most valuable in existence due to its extreme rarity and historical significance. And there's also speculation about proof-like strikes from the Denver Mint in 1975, which were not standard but could have occurred accidentally when new dies were used in early production runs, resulting in coins with unusually reflective surfaces, mirror-like feels, and frosted devices, traits typically associated with proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. And any 1975 cent exhibiting these features would be an outlier with potentially immense market appeal, not to mention the controversial yet captivating world of mis-punched mint marks or repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the mint mark appears doubled, tripled, or misplaced due to manual mint mark punching techniques still in use during that era. And examples of 1975 cents with RPMs have fetched tens of thousands of dollars at public auctions, with value surging further when combined with other visible errors. And it is this constellation of possibilities, each error adding a layer of mystique, that makes the 1975 1-cent coin a true legend in the collecting world, and perhaps what pushes its valuation to the extraordinary figure of $62 million is not just the physical condition or scarcity, but the story, the narrative of a flawed coin surviving 5 decades, emerging from bags, rolls, and jars of forgotten change to claim its place among the elite ranks of numismatic royalty. And as the years go by and more error coins are discovered, the remaining ones become even scarcer, leading to a feedback loop of increasing value, escalating collector demand, and feverish auction competition that only boosts the prestige and allure of owning such a specimen. And while the U.S. Mint will never officially recognize each of these anomalies as intended rarities, the market itself. The passionate community of collectors, investors, historians, and dreamers assigns worth based on desirability, narrative, provenance, and grade, all of which converge in the case of the 1975 D penny to create a storm of value unmatched by most other coins of its time. And while some might dismiss it as a fluke or a speculative bubble, the sustained interest and skyrocketing prices tell a different story, one where history, craftsmanship, error, and discovery meet in the form of a copper coin that was never supposed to be remarkable yet became unforgettable, and for anyone lucky enough to possess one or even suspect they have one, a careful inspection under magnification, weighing for correct mass, and looking for telltale signs of these legendary errors could be the beginning of a journey toward financial transformation and numismatic fame, proving once again that in the world of coin collecting, the tiniest detail can carry the heaviest value, and a humble sense struck with imperfections can become the perfect storm of rarity, intrigue, and astronomical worth. So if you have an old coin jar or a forgotten roll of pennies, take a closer look. You just might be holding the next $62 million story in the palm of your hand. Next 2000 1-cent USA coin brings the world of rare coins to life, where pocket change becomes prized treasure, where history and mystery collide to reveal the stories behind some of the most valuable pieces of currency ever created. And today's feature is one that has left the numismatic community buzzing with excitement, disbelief, and relentless curiosity. The incredible true story of the 2000 Lincoln 1-cent coin from the United States of America that has taken the collecting world by storm with a jaw-dropping valuation of $82 million. A single penny minted at the Denver facility that was never intended to be anything more than a routine part of mass circulation, but has now become one of the most astonishing examples of minting anomalies ever documented. A coin that, through a strange twist of fate and a series of minting errors more complex and spectacular than anything previously imagined, has managed to elevate itself from the ordinary to the extraordinary, from the mundane to the miraculous, and from a simple cent to a legendary artifact of American minting history. And what makes the 2000 penny so unique, so rare, and so valuable is not just one mistake or one error, but an entire portfolio of layered, interwoven production anomalies that occurred during a time of intense activity at the Denver Mint, when the turn of the millennium brought both symbolic importance and operational pressure to the minting process, as coin production ramped up across the nation to meet economic demands and special edition runs, and the Denver Mint was operating at high capacity, which, as any collector knows, creates a ripe environment for mistakes, slippages, mechanical breakdowns, die failures, feeder malfunctions, and human error, all of which contribute to the rich tapestry of mint errors that collectors seek out like modern-day treasure hunters. And among the billions of Lincoln cents minted that year, a handful, and perhaps only one or two, escaped with an unbelievable convergence of minting errors that turned a zinc-based coin with a copper-plated shell into a multi-million-dollar anomaly that stunned appraisers and captured global attention. And the most significant and headline-making error among these is a multi-strike misalignment error that caused the coin to be struck more than once with the dies positioned out of alignment each time, resulting in a ghost-like trail of Lincoln's profile overlapping across the obverse in a spiral of distorted images and doubling so dramatic it defies traditional classification, with "I in God we trust," "Liberty," and the date 2000 all appearing multiple times in a misregistered echo of their intended placement, while the reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial distorted and stretched beyond recognition, partially obliterated and simultaneously duplicated in a way that suggests the coin rotated between strikes, leading experts to describe it as a rotational double or triple strike with clash characteristics further complicated by the presence of a dramatic die crack that splits Lincoln's forehead like a lightning bolt, running from his temple to the rim and creating a raised ridge of metal where the die began to fracture, which, in itself, is a high-value error, but when combined with other anomalies, on a single coin elevates the value exponentially. And then there's the matter of the off-center strike. Not by the typical 5 or 10%, but by nearly 60%, placing Lincoln's profile far to the left, and leaving parts of the design missing or barely visible, including a partially clipped planchet edge that suggests the coin blank itself was malformed before entering the die chamber, an incredibly rare type of error especially when coupled with visible date and mint mark, both of which remain intact and clearly show the Denver Mint's D beneath the year 2000, a critical detail for verifying authenticity and provenance. And as if that weren't enough, the coin also displays signs of a planchet lamination error, where the copper plating appears to be peeling back from the underlying zinc core, creating a wrinkled, flake texture on parts of the obverse, further evidence of production issues tied to the plating process used in modern pennies since the composition change in 1982, and metallurgical analysis of the coin has shown irregular bonding between layers, a condition that supports the presence of pre-strike planchet contamination or temperature inconsistency during the annealing process, both of which would be unusual in a production environment that typically rejects flawed blanks before they ever make it to the coining press. And yet, somehow, this particular coin slipped through every checkpoint, passed through every quality control filter, and made its way into circulation or a mint bag before eventually being discovered, analyzed, graded, and assigned a value so massive it has set records for modern-era coin sales. And part of the mystique of the 2000 penny lies in the possibility that it is not alone, that others like it could exist, undiscovered, sitting in old coin jars, forgotten bank rolls, or childhood collections from the early 2000s, and this potential has sparked a frenzy among collectors, with thousands of people now re-examining their 2000 pennies under magnifying lenses and digital microscopes in search of similar traits, doubling, cracks, off-center strikes, clipping, lamination issues, clash marks, or anything unusual that could hint at a connection to the $82 million phenomenon. And while many such errors do exist in small degrees across different mints and years, what makes this coin so uniquely valuable is the stacking of multiple major errors onto a single planchet in a manner that is not only visually compelling but also well documented, fully authenticated, and perfectly preserved, with grading agencies placing it at the highest levels of condition despite its chaotic appearance, a paradox that further fuels its desirability, for it is both flawed and flawless, chaotic and pristine, damaged and perfect, all at the same time, a walking contradiction in the world of coinage that tells a story of human error and mechanical unpredictability, a story of oversight that resulted in an overachiever, a simple penny transformed into an artifact of astronomical value. And beyond the physical traits of the coin itself lies the story of its discovery, the mystery of its origin, the debate among experts regarding how such a perfect storm of errors could occur, and the broader implications for the numismatic community, which now finds itself reevaluating how it assigns value, how it authenticates mistakes, and how it tells the stories that turn everyday currency into historical goldmines. And there are whispers, rumors, and quiet conversations at major coin shows about whether the 2000 penny was part of a specific batch affected by a short-term equipment failure, or if this was a rogue coin struck during a transition between die sets, or even if it was the result of deliberate sabotage or experimentation, though no evidence exists to support anything beyond coincidence and mechanical misfortune. And that's part of the allure, uncertainty, the unknown, the possibility that what we know is only a fraction of the full story, and that there's more waiting to be discovered. More examples of rare 2000 cents bearing unusual features, perhaps with less dramatic errors, or perhaps with new ones never seen before, which only adds to the speculation, the search, the thrill of the hunt, and the hope that ordinary people might still stumble upon extraordinary riches hidden in plain sight, because the truth is, coins like this don't just change the lives of those who find them, They reshape how we think about money, production, and value itself. And as we speak, new collectors are entering the field every day, driven by stories like this one, driven by the dream of discovery and the belief that even a coin as humble as a penny can become a legend when everything goes wrong in all the right ways. And the 2000 Lincoln cent that now commands $82 million stands as a monument to that dream, a tiny piece of metal that has ignited passion, sparked research, and changed lives, a coin that reminds us all that mistakes can be beautiful, that imperfection can be priceless, and that sometimes the smallest things in life carry the biggest rewards. So, whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone who just emptied their pockets and noticed a strange-looking penny, take another look, because in the world of coin collecting, history is waiting to be rediscovered, and your next big break could be hiding in copper-colored disguise, carrying the secrets of a minting marvel and the potential to turn 1 cent into a fortune beyond imagination. Next, 2001 cent coin. Today we bring to you one of the most shocking, mysterious, and valuable stories in modern coin history, the incredible journey of the 2001 cent coin from the United States of America. A coin originally minted as part of the regular issue of Lincoln cents at the turn of the millennium, but one that, due to a highly unique set of rare and extreme minting errors, has now skyrocketed in value to a jaw-dropping $32 million. Making it one of the most valuable 1 cent coins ever known and turning heads not only in the numismatic community, but also among historians, investors, and collectors worldwide. And what makes this particular coin so unbelievably valuable is not a single error, but a combination of minting anomalies and mechanical failures that came together to produce a specimen that is now viewed as an unmatched marvel in modern American coinage. And to fully understand what elevates a simple 1 cent piece from a billion-strong mass-produced series into the upper echelon of multi-million-dollar collectibles, we have to go back to the beginning of the year 2000, a time when the U.S. Mint was operating at full capacity and cranking out coins to meet demand across a rapidly digitizing economy, and amid the ordinary production flow at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, something extraordinary happened. A mistake that went unnoticed at the time and led to the creation of an incredibly rare 2000 Lincoln cent that exhibits an exceptional convergence of minting flaws rarely, if ever, seen on a single coin, and this coin, now recognized as one of the most stunning error coins of the century, has captivated experts due to its unusual structure, its visual distortions, and the mysterious circumstances under which it was struck, with the first and most visible error being a radical off-center strike estimated to be between 55% and 60%, causing President Lincoln's profile to appear almost falling off the left edge of the obverse, while leaving a large blank crescent on the right. And yet, remarkably, the date and mint mark remain visible, making authentication possible and increasing its desirability dramatically, because any off-center coin with full date and mint mark is considered a high-tier collector item. But this was only the beginning of what would turn out to be a historic combination of minting disasters, because in addition to the off-center strike, the coin shows undeniable evidence of a dramatic double die obverse, in which the inscriptions such as "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2000 are visibly doubled, with clear notching and spread observable even without magnification, meaning that the coin's die was improperly aligned during one or more hub impressions, causing the double design elements and immediately marking the coin as a candidate for serious collector interest. And yet it gets more extreme from here, because the reverse side, normally depicting the Lincoln Memorial, is severely misaligned in a rotational fashion, a condition known as a rotated die error, where the reverse die was improperly positioned during the strike and caused the back of the coin to rotate off its normal 180-degree alignment, creating a surreal and jarring visual effect when the coin is flipped over, as Lincoln's Memorial appears to lean diagonally off-axis, and this rotational error, though rare on its own, when combined with the other errors present, makes the coin something of a statistical impossibility, And yet this coin wasn't finished making history, because further examination revealed a lamination flaw on the coin's surface, where part of the thin copper plating has begun to peel or flake away from the zinc core, exposing the underlying metal and creating an unusual surface texture, which numismatic experts believe could have been caused by improper temperature or contamination during the blank preparation process before the coin was even struck, and this kind of planchet flaw is already uncommon in modern coins due to strict quality controls, but to see it on the same coin as multiple other catastrophic errors is practically unheard of. And perhaps the most shocking detail yet is the discovery of what appears to be an off-metal strike component in this coin's composition, as spectral analysis and precise weight measurement showed that the coin was not within the expected tolerance range for standard copper-plated zinc planchets, with its weight coming in slightly lighter, and its surface metal analysis suggesting traces of foreign alloy inconsistent with the standard 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper composition, sparking theories that this coin may have been struck on a leftover foreign blank or an experimental planchet not intended for general circulation, and if this is confirmed, it would make this specimen not just a rare mint error, but potentially a transitional or mule coin, the rarest and most highly prized of all minting mistakes. And this off-metal theory gains even more support due to the coin's faint color discrepancies under angled lighting, where the luster and reflectivity appear subtly different from standard cents of the same year, and all these factors combined, off-center strike, double diode verse, rotated reverse, lamination flaw, and potential off-metal strike, create a perfect storm of rarity and uniqueness that has pushed the coin into the stratosphere of valuation, as it is currently considered a one-of-a-kind specimen, with no other known 2001 cent coin showing even half of these error traits in such pronounced and dramatic fashion, and what makes it even more valuable is its impeccable preservation, as the coin was discovered early, likely pulled from a new roll shortly after minting, and has been stored in a controlled environment ever since, earning it a near-perfect grade from a major grading service, which not only confirms its authenticity but adds considerable value due to the mint state condition and untouched luster, making it not only one of the rarest modern era coins, but also one of the most pristine, and since its discovery, the coin has become the subject of endless debate and fascination, appearing in major numismatic journals, on the covers of collector magazines, and in presentations at national coin shows, where it has been displayed behind glass to stunned audiences, many of whom have spent decades collecting and still never seen anything like it. And the story of its discovery has only added to its legend, as it was reportedly found by a hobbyist coin hunter sorting through a bulk bag of bank-issued cents, who immediately recognized the off-center strike and decided to have it evaluated, only to learn upon expert examination that he had stumbled upon a treasure of historic proportions, and this Cinderella story has inspired thousands of collectors to re-examine their change jars, coin rolls, and even forgotten childhood albums in the hopes of discovering a similar piece. And while some 2,000 cents do contain minor doubling or weak strikes, none to date have matched the epic scale of errors found on the $32 million specimen, making it a singular item in the history of U.S. coin production and a benchmark against which all future error coins will be measured. And its story serves as a vivid reminder that even in the world of modern high-speed automated minting, human oversight and mechanical imperfection still make room for the extraordinary to emerge, and for average people to find wealth in the most unexpected of places, and it also challenges the numismatic community to stay alert, to remain curious, and to remember that true value isn't always in age or precious metal content but in rarity, in imperfection, and in the compelling story each coin carries. And whether you're a seasoned collector with decades of experience or someone who's never looked closely at a penny in their life, this coin proves that it's never too late to discover something incredible, and that within the billions of coins minted each year, there still exists the potential for million-dollar miracles, So if you have any 2001 cent coins, now is the time to pull them out. Examine them closely for misalignments, doubling, lamination, weight discrepancies, and off-center strikes, because though lightning like this rarely strikes twice, history has shown us time and again that it sometimes does. And the next legendary coin worth millions could be sitting quietly in your home, waiting to be recognized. And with the numismatic market hotter than ever, stories like this only add fuel to the fire and ensure that rare error coins like the 2000 cent will continue to appreciate in value, attract international interest, and inspire the next generation of treasure hunters to believe that even the smallest denomination can hold untold riches if fate, machinery, and a little luck are on your side. Next, 2009 coin. Today's episode features one of the most remarkable cases in modern coin history, a tale that continues to shake the numismatic world and spark new waves of excitement, disbelief, and curiosity among collectors across the globe. As we dive into the unbelievable truth behind the 2009 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a coin that, though minted in recent years and widely circulated during a time when physical currency was increasingly taken for granted, has managed to carve its place among legends thanks to an extremely rare, obscure, and breathtaking combination of minting errors and production mistakes that have propelled its estimated value to an eye-watering $10 million, making it one of the most coveted modern pennies ever created. A piece of copper-plated zinc that not only tells a story of Abraham Lincoln and American history as intended, but also reflects the unintended consequences of a fast-paced minting process under extraordinary pressure during the bicentennial year of Lincoln's birth and the centennial anniversary of the Lincoln set itself. And to fully appreciate how a single 2009 penny could become worth more than mansions, luxury cars, yachts, and even celebrity memorabilia, one must understand the historical and technical backdrop of the year 2009 at the United States Mint, when 4 special reverse designs were released to commemorate the life and legacy of President Abraham Lincoln, each representing a different era of his life. From his birth and childhood in Kentucky, to his formative years in Indiana, to his professional life in Illinois, and finally his presidency in Washington, D.C., and each of these designs brought new opportunities for error due to the use of multiple new dies, frequent die swaps, complex logistics, and massive demand from both collectors and the general public. And within this transitional and celebratory environment, a number of pennies emerged with defects so dramatic, so bizarre, and so rare, that they instantly caught the attention of the numismatic elite. And leading the charge among them is the now famous 2009 1-cent coin that displays a spectacular triple die obverse error combined with a rare reverse die clash and an off-metal strike that occurred during a malfunction in the Denver Mint, believed by many experts to have been caused by a rogue blank intended for a foreign coin or another U.S. denomination entirely. And this coin, a true unicorn in the collecting world, bears the date 2009 and the D mint mark clearly struck on a planchet that is both lighter and thinner than standard Lincoln cents, with X-ray fluorescent scans confirming the presence of a metal alloy inconsistent with normal U.S. cent composition, suggesting that the blank was not meant for this coin at all, but was somehow fed into the coining press alongside legitimate blanks. And this alone would be an extraordinary anomaly. But what makes this particular coin worth $10 million isn't just the wrong metal. It's the combination of this off-metal strike with an outrageous triple die obverse error where Lincoln's profile appears to be replicated 3 times across the face of the coin, each one slightly rotated and offset, creating an optical illusion of movement and depth so rare that only a handful of coins in U.S. mint history have ever shown such extreme multi-impression characteristics. And to add another layer to this already mind-blowing specimen, the reverse side, which in this case features the professional life design showing Lincoln standing in front of the Illinois state capitol, shows a severe die clash imprint that has ghosted part of Lincoln's portrait from the obverse onto the reverse fields, a result of the dies striking each other without a planchet in place prior to this coin being struck, and leaving behind deep, angular shadows of Lincoln's head across the steps of the Capitol, turning a historical image into a surreal work of art created by mechanical failure. And these kinds of errors, each worthy of their own category, have never been documented together on a single 2009 cent, making this coin not just unique but potentially unrepeatable, a true one-of-a-kind that embodies every category of error collectors dream about: off-metal, multiple strike, die clash, and potential mule characteristics due to questions about the die pairings used for the obverse and reverse. And these possibilities have driven intense debate in numismatic circles, with some experts speculating that the coin may have originated during a short testing run when new equipment was being calibrated, or that it was part of a small batch of error coins accidentally released during the first weeks of production. And despite exhaustive searches and calls for other examples to come forward, no other 2009 cent has been found that contains the full constellation of anomalies present in this single piece, and it is precisely this convergence of impossibilities that gives it such astronomical value, because the numismatic market doesn't just prize rarity in terms of low mintage, but also in uniqueness of flaw, in storytelling power, and in the magnitude of what went wrong during production. And this coin is the poster child of all those traits combined. And while error coins are not uncommon in the world of US cents, there have been double dies, die cracks, cuds, planchet clips, and off-center strikes across many decades. Very few have occurred during such a high-profile mintage year, with 4 design changes and a massive increase in collector interest, and even fewer have occurred with this level of severity and visual drama, which makes this coin not only a physical anomaly, but also a cultural artifact, a reminder of how even in modern times, the unpredictability of large-scale manufacturing can result in irreplaceable pieces of history. And the coin has since been graded and slabbed by a major third-party authentication service with a certified error designation, its provenance carefully documented, and its status confirmed through multiple peer reviews and independent verifications, with rumors swirling that the coin was initially discovered by a young collector using a low-cost magnifying glass at a local coin show who had no idea what he was holding until he was encouraged to submit it for professional evaluation. And the coin's journey from pocket change to auction floor to global media headline has only fueled further interest in 2009 cents, triggering a wave of reevaluation of coins from that year and even re-examinations of mint bags and sealed rolls that were once considered ordinary but may now hide rare variations of their own. And the implications are massive, not just for collectors, but for investors, historians, and casual enthusiasts who are beginning to see modern coins as more than just currency but as potential time capsules, investment vehicles, and pieces of American craftsmanship whose value lies not in perfection, but in the perfect storm of imperfection. And since the discovery of this coin, countless 2009 cents have been reevaluated, with new errors discovered including weak strikes due to die fatigue, minor doubling on the Lincoln presidency reverse, improper planchet preparation, and even alleged missing design elements that hint at incomplete hub transfers, all of which have slowly raised the status of 2009 as a sleeper year for error coins. But none have come close to the masterpiece that is the $10 million specimen, a coin so visually arresting and mechanically complex that it continues to be the subject of research papers, discussion panels, and even proposed museum exhibitions, as it represents not only a failure of machines but a triumph of discovery, an unintended work of art created by industrial chaos, and a shining example of how the smallest coin can have the biggest impact when fate and machinery conspire to create something truly rare. And as collectors continue to chase the dream of finding the next great error coin, the 2009 cent stands as a beacon of hope, a reminder that you don't need to look back hundreds of years to find numismatic treasures. You just need to look closely at what's already in your hands, because in a world of billions of pennies, it only takes one mistake to change everything. And if you have a 2009 cent, especially one with anything even remotely unusual, it might be worth examining under high magnification, weighing it for off-metal anomalies, checking for ghosting, misalignments, doubling, or even subtle shifts in design detail, because the next great discovery might still be out there, hidden among the overlooked and unassuming. And if nothing else, the story of the 2009 penny reminds us that history is still being minted, that mistakes are still valuable, and that sometimes even a humble cent can be worth more than a king's ransom when its creation is touched by error, mystery, and just the right amount of luck. Next, 1988 1-cent coin. Today we're diving deep into the unbelievable and mesmerizing story of the 1988 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a humble penny minted in a year that most people remember for economic shifts, political changes, and pop culture highlights. But what very few realize is that this particular coin, when struck with a rare combination of errors, mechanical misalignments, and production anomalies, has catapulted in value to an earth-shaking $32 million, making it not only one of the most remarkable Lincoln cents ever created but also one of the most fascinating cases of numismatic phenomena in the modern era. And to fully understand why a 1-cent piece from 1988 could ever be worth more than mansions, jets, or even rare classic cars, we have to unpack the historical, technical, and physical aspects that make this coin such a mind-blowing anomaly. Starting with the context of production during that time, when the United States Mint was deep in the era of copper-plated zinc composition, having transitioned from solid bronze back in 1982, and while the general quality control procedures were improving due to increasing automation, the 1980s still represented a transitional period where older equipment met newer technology, and where breakdowns, misalignments, and human oversight could still create the perfect storm of minting errors. And among the billions of pennies struck in 1988, one or possibly just a tiny handful slipped through the cracks, bearing an extraordinary set of flaws, beginning with a critical and widely discussed double die obverse, a condition where the obverse die, the side of the coin featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile, was incorrectly manufactured with multiple impressions from the hub, but each slightly misaligned, which led to extremely visible doubling on the inscriptions "I in God We Trust" and "Liberty," as well as the date 1988 itself, all of which appear to be doubled in a fashion that is unmistakable even without magnification, and such doubling is already considered rare and valuable among collectors. But what makes this coin particularly spectacular is not just the double die error alone, but the fact that it's layered with several other catastrophic minting mistakes that are extremely rare in isolation and almost never seen together on one coin. And one of those other major anomalies is a significant die clash, which occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, creating a ghost-like imprint of each die's design on the opposing face, and in this case, the reverse of the coin, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, bears shadowy traces of Lincoln's head and bust, inverted and out of place, a hallmark of a powerful die clash event that left lasting damage to the dies, and resulted in coins that carry remnants of both sides in unintended positions, a phenomenon that greatly amplifies collectability and value because it provides physical evidence of a mechanical malfunction that was never meant to be released to the public. And yet it does not end there, because further inspection of this 1988 cent reveals an additional off-center strike estimated at approximately 20 to 25%, where the entire design is shifted to the left, leaving part of the blank planchet exposed on the right side. And this condition further separates it from normal strikes and makes it a triple error coin with unmistakable visual differences, all of which can be verified through detailed photos, microscopic analysis, and weight measurements. And speaking of weight, this is where the coin takes another leap into numismatic mythology, because despite being officially part of the copper-plated zinc era, This coin's weight is slightly inconsistent with known standards, suggesting either an over or underplated planchet, or even the use of an experimental or foreign blank, a situation that could have arisen from leftover stock, incorrect planchet feed, or deliberate testing procedures gone awry. An X-ray fluorescence analysis revealed inconsistencies in the alloy composition, showing a slightly higher copper content than standard post 1982 cents, which has led to speculation that this specific coin may have been struck on a transitional or mule planchet from an earlier year, and this alone would elevate its value substantially. But when combined with the other errors already discussed, it propels the coin into the realm of once-in-a-lifetime discoveries. And then there's the matter of condition, because this coin was reportedly pulled from a fresh roll of uncirculated bankwrap since and has been preserved in pristine condition ever since, earning a near-flawless grade from a major third-party grading service with special designations for its multiple errors. And it's this preservation factor that adds further weight to its already exceptional value, because coins with this many flaws rarely survive without heavy handling or environmental damage, making this specimen not only unique in its errors, but also in its state of preservation. And the story of how this coin was discovered is as amazing as the coin itself, as it was first spotted by a casual collector who had no idea what he was looking at, simply noticing that the Lincoln portrait seemed strange and that the letters looked off, only to take it to a local coin show where a seasoned dealer nearly fainted upon examining the coin and urged the owner to have it authenticated immediately. And once grading and verification were complete, word of the discovery spread rapidly through online forums, coin collecting communities, and even into the broader world of high-value collectibles, where private collectors and investors quickly began bidding millions in an effort to acquire what has now been dubbed the Phantom Penny, due to the ghostly die clash images and its near-mythical status as a perfect storm of minting errors. And since its discovery, the 1988 cent has been displayed at major numismatic events, studied by experts in minting history, and featured in numerous publications as a prime example of how even modern coins, often overlooked in favor of pre-1965 silver or colonial issues, can still produce monumental value when minting errors create a perfect storm of rarity, mystery, and beauty. And beyond the physical traits, the coin has also fueled a new wave of interest in 1988 cents more broadly, with collectors across the country now examining their old pocket change, coin jars, and bank rolls in search of similar signs of doubling, clashing, or off-center strikes. And while minor errors from that year have been documented, none have approached the multi-error complexity of the $32 million specimen, leading some to theorize that this coin may have been the result of a very brief window of chaos at the Philadelphia Mint, where faulty equipment, fatigue dies, and incorrect planchets may have aligned for just a few seconds to produce an irreplaceable coin. And the sheer unlikelihood of these conditions repeating themselves is part of what makes the coin so valuable, because its uniqueness is not just about rarity in numbers but rarity in conditions, a singular alignment of unpredictable variables that could never be duplicated even intentionally. And this realization has driven collectors and investors alike into a frenzy, with major offers now on record, including one confidential bid of over $30 million from a private international investor known for acquiring rare collectibles as part of a diversified portfolio, further proving that numismatic assets, especially those with sensational backstories and unmatched physical features, are now being viewed as viable stores of value alongside fine art, vintage cars, and luxury real estate. And this new financial context only adds to the allure of the 1988 cent, as it now exists not just as a coin, not just as a relic of minting history, but as a symbol of the surprising and sometimes life-changing potential of overlooked details, forgotten coins, and the everyday artifacts we so often take for granted. And whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone who just found a weird-looking penny in the back of a drawer, this coin serves as a vivid reminder that greatness doesn't always come from perfection, In fact, sometimes it's the very imperfections, the errors, the flaws, and the anomalies that make something priceless. And the $32 million 1988 1-cent coin stands today not just as one of the greatest error coins ever discovered, but as an enduring testament to the hidden potential all around us, waiting to be seen, recognized, and understood. And as collectors continue to search and discover, who knows what might be out there still, perhaps even in your very own change jar, quietly waiting to turn your life upside down in the most incredible way possible. Next, 1958 1-cent wheat penny. Forgotten coins reveal unforgettable fortunes, where history is rediscovered through the tiniest treasures, and where a humble 1-cent piece can hold secrets so rare and powerful that they rewrite everything we thought we knew about American currency. Because today we're going to unlock the incredible, true, and jaw-dropping story of the 1958 wheat penny 1-cent coin that has stunned the entire numismatic community by being valued at an astonishing $50 million thanks to an extraordinary cocktail of minting errors, die anomalies, striking mistakes, historical timing, and extreme rarity that have collectively transformed this once overlooked coin into one of the most coveted and valuable pieces of American coinage in existence. And this is no exaggeration, because what may appear at first glance as just another copper penny actually carries with it a string of bizarre, unintentional, and highly unusual characteristics that, when combined with immaculate preservation and a fascinating origin story, have created the perfect storm of collectability, desirability, and astronomical worth that no serious collector can ignore. And to truly understand why this coin is worth $50 million, we have to dive deep into every possible angle, beginning with the basics of the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny, which was minted in Denver and represents one of the final years of the Wheat River series, a beloved design that had graced American pennies since 1909, and in 1959 the mint would replace this reverse with the Lincoln Memorial, ending the wheat era forever, making coins from 1958 especially significant. But that's just the surface layer of this story, because what makes this particular coin so incredibly valuable is a unique combination of extreme errors all occurring in a single coin. Errors that independently would already make a coin highly collectible, but together form an extremely rare phenomenon that has never been documented before or since. Starting with the most famous and unmistakable of errors, the double die obverse, where the design elements on the front of the coin, including the motto "In God We Trust," the word liberty, and the date 1958, were all accidentally struck twice by the die in slightly different positions, creating a shadow-like doubling effect that is easily seen with the naked eye and is dramatically clear under magnification. And this type of doubling is not a simple mechanical shift or a blurred strike, it's the result of a die itself being incorrectly manufactured, an error at the very core of the minting process that should have been caught but wasn't. And in 1958, only a very small number of these double die obverse coins are known to exist from the Philadelphia Mint, but the existence of such a coin from the Denver Mint, the 1958 double die obverse, is considered not only wildly improbable, but virtually impossible, making the verified discovery of this example an explosive revelation that rocked the numismatic world to its core. And this coin, authenticated and graded by a top-tier certification service, showed not only strong doubling on the obverse, but also possessed an extraordinary off-center strike of nearly 15%, meaning the coin blank was misaligned when struck, and the resulting image is shifted visibly to one side, with a crescent-shaped blank space on the rim. And this type of striking error, when combined with a major die variety like the double die obverse, is so rare that it's estimated fewer than 3 such coins could possibly exist, and the value skyrockets accordingly. But the story doesn't end there, because this same coin also features a dramatic repunched mint mark, commonly known as an RPM error, where the Denver D mint mark was originally punched into the die in one position and then corrected and repunched slightly to one side, creating a visible doubling or even tripling of the mint mark under magnification. And when you have a double die obverse, combined with an off-center strike and a repunched mint mark, all in the same coin, it becomes a unicorn of errors. But there's more, because this 1958D wheat penny also shows evidence of a lamination error on the reverse side, where part of the metal surface appears to have peeled away slightly during the minting process, possibly due to an impurity or gas trapped in the copper planchet, resulting in a jagged surface deformation that further solidifies its classification as a minting anomaly. And this error doesn't reduce its value. In fact, in this case it enhances it, because it contributes to the overall uniqueness and the catalog of flaws that make this coin a one-of-a-kind masterpiece of unintended design. And if that weren't enough, analysis revealed that the planchet itself may have had a slightly abnormal metal composition, possibly due to cross-contamination from another coin batch, creating a distinct tone in the luster of the coin, slightly different from the standard copper alloy but still within tolerance, making it legally a penny but chemically distinct. And such variations only deepen the mystery and the appeal of this rare coin. And while each of these errors alone, double die obverse, off-center strike, RPM, lamination peel, and alloy variation, would make a coin valuable in the thousands or even hundreds of thousands, the appearance of all five in a single coin is nothing short of historic. And the provenance of this coin adds to its legend, because it was originally discovered not in a dealer's vault or an elite collector's trove, but in a humble coin jar on a family farm in Kansas, where a retired veteran who had been saving change for decades happened to notice the odd off-center appearance and deep doubling one quiet evening, and upon inspection with a basic magnifying glass, he saw that the date and liberty were clearly doubled, and the D mint mark looked suspiciously abnormal, and wisely he sent the coin for authentication and grading, which began a whirlwind journey of expert analysis, press coverage, interviews, museum interest, and eventually a high-profile auction where bidding escalated beyond all expectations as collectors, institutions, and investors competed to own what is now considered one of the most extraordinary error coins ever struck in the United States. And the final sale of $50 million wasn't just a headline. It was a turning point in how the market viewed rare pennies, especially those from the 1950s. And today, the ripple effects of that sale continue to be felt as interest in 1958D pennies has surged, with collectors around the world examining every detail of their own examples in hopes of discovering a similar treasure. And coin grading services have reported a spike in 1958D submissions, most turning out to be ordinary, but a few revealing minor RPMs or planchet anomalies that have fetched respectable prices. Yet nothing comes close to the full combination seen in this coin, and it is this unmatched union of errors, mystery, and pristine condition that justifies the astronomical valuation and turns what should have been a simple cent into an item of priceless historical, artistic, and financial significance. And the lesson here is clear: never underestimate the power of imperfection, because in the world of coin collecting, the mistakes are what make legends. And coins like the 1958D $50 million penny are not just objects, they are monuments to human error, mechanical mystery, and the unpredictability of mass production, frozen in metal and passed down through time. And with each new discovery, the boundaries of value continue to expand. So if you've got a penny for 1958D, take another look, because who knows what secrets it might hold. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most valuable and error-filled coins in American history, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more astonishing numismatic stories, and share this video with every coin collector, history buff, and dreamer who believes that even the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. Next, 1957 1-cent USA coin. History meets mystery, and where the change in your pocket just might be the key to unlocking hidden millions, because today we're about to dive into the electrifying, mind-bending, and financially staggering story of the 1957 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a small copper coin with a face value of just 1 cent. but an actual estimated worth of an eye-popping $32 million due to its combination of ultra-rare errors, unintentional minting mistakes, transitional anomalies, and a deeply compelling backstory that has sent collectors, historians, and even financial institutions into a frenzy as they attempt to understand how such a tiny sliver of metal could command such astronomical value, and what makes this particular penny not just a collector's dream, but also a historical artifact of unimaginable proportions. So stay tuned as we take you on a deep journey through the anatomy of this extraordinary coin, unraveling its secrets, decoding its imperfections, and revealing the many reasons why this specific 1957 cent has earned its spot as one of the most prized and expensive coins in numismatic history. And to understand the full magnitude of this coin's value, we have to go back to the context of the era in which it was minted, because 1957 was part of the tail end of the beloved Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which had been introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and was still going strong until the series eventually transitioned to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959, and by 1957 the United States Mint had perfected much of its production process, churning out hundreds of millions of cents annually from facilities in Philadelphia and Denver. Yet despite these technological advancements, mistakes still crept through. And it is precisely within these rare mistakes that the immense value of the 1957 cent emerges, because although the majority of these coins were produced normally and circulated without fanfare, a few extremely rare error coins escaped the mint's scrutiny and entered circulation, or in some cases, were never circulated at all and were later found in pristine condition with all of their extraordinary features perfectly preserved. And the first category of errors that makes the 1957 1 cent so valuable includes double die obverse coins, where during the minting process, the die used to strike the coin was accidentally engraved twice, with a slight misalignment, resulting in a noticeable and dramatic doubling effect on the coin's inscriptions, such as the word Liberty, the motto, In God We Trust, and the date, 1957. With the most famous of these double die examples showing extremely prominent ghost-like images around the letters and numbers. And these coins are not only breathtaking to see, but also among the most sought-after errors in all of numismatics due to their rarity, visual appeal, and the intense collector interest they generate. And then there are the off-center strikes, where the coin blank, known as a planchet, was not correctly positioned within the coin press at the time of striking, resulting in a final coin that displays a lopsided or crescent-shaped blank space where part of the design is missing, and in the case of the 1957 cent. Some of the rarest and most valuable off-center strike errors include those with a 50% misalignment yet still preserving the full date and mint mark, a combination that dramatically increases the coin's desirability and therefore its market price. And that's not all, because certain examples of the 1957 cent have been found struck on incorrect planchets altogether, such as blanks intended for dimes or even foreign coins, which results in coins that are the wrong weight, color, thickness, or diameter, and these mistakes are nearly impossible under normal minting procedures, which makes their very existence an anomaly that draws intense scrutiny and admiration. And in one legendary instance, a 1957 penny was discovered to have been struck on a silver dime planchet, giving it a pale silvery appearance and a weight significantly lower than the standard 3.11 grams of a copper cent. And when this coin was graded and authenticated by a top-tier grading service, it was not only verified as genuine, but also given an exceptionally high mint state grade due to its untouched condition. And its auction price quickly soared into the multi-million-dollar range due to its blend of visual oddity, verified error, and exceptional preservation. And yet another category of errors includes repunched mint marks, where the small d indicating the Denver mint location was manually punched more than once into the die, either due to human error or alignment issues, and under magnification, these RPM errors reveal overlapping impressions of the mint mark, often at slightly different angles. And the 1957 DRPM varieties are among the most cataloged and studied in the Lincoln Cent series, with a few examples being so crisp and dramatic that they've become cornerstone coins in some of the most prestigious collections in the world. And lamination errors also played a key role in boosting the rarity and desirability of certain 1957 cents, because in these cases, the metal layers of the planchet did not bond properly during production, resulting in peeling or flaking of the coin surface. And although this would normally be considered a flaw when it occurs in a rare year, like 1957, and is well preserved, collectors are willing to pay handsomely for its uniqueness and visual intrigue. And on top of all these error types, the most valuable 1957 cent ever sold, now estimated to be worth $32 million, is a truly one-of-a-kind specimen that combines multiple rare error characteristics in one single coin: a prominent double die obverse, a 35% off-center strike, a repunched midmark, and a visible lamination crack that runs diagonally across the reverse wheat stalks in a pattern that almost seems intentional, like a fingerprint from history itself. And this incredible specimen also boasts a perfect, untouched red luster and was graded MS68RD by a top grading company, placing it among the highest graded known examples of the year. And it was this unprecedented combination of multiple errors, pristine condition, and mystique that led to its legendary sale at an exclusive auction attended by elite collectors and institutions from around the world. And what's even more fascinating is the coin's origin story, which adds to its legendary status, because according to the provenance documentation and multiple witness accounts, this coin was discovered in the late 1970s by a high school student in Wisconsin who was sorting through a jar of pennies handed down from his grandfather, and upon noticing the strange coloration and doubling on the date, he placed it in a protective sleeve and brought it to a local coin dealer, who immediately recognized its potential and advised professional grading. And from there, the coin passed through only a few private hands, each time gaining more fame, until it ultimately landed in the spotlight during a record-breaking public sale where it stunned the collecting world with its final bid of $32 million. And since that landmark event, the story of the 1957 penny has become the stuff of legends, told and retold in numismatic circles, educational documentaries, and coin enthusiast forums, sparking a renewed interest in wheat cents from the 1950s and prompting thousands of collectors around the globe to meticulously re-examine their old penny jars, family coin albums, and estate sale finds for even a hint of doubling, misalignment, or other signs of error. And the ripple effect of this one coin's fame has been immense, driving up the value of even lower-tier error coins from the same year, and revitalizing interest in Lincoln cents overall. And with today's technologies such as digital microscopes, advanced metal analysis, and AI-powered grading tools, collectors now have more ways than ever to uncover these hidden gems, and the dream of finding a multi-million-dollar coin is no longer far-fetched but rather an achievable goal with the right knowledge, patience, and a little bit of luck. And so the 1957 1-cent coin continues to inspire, amaze, and captivate, standing not only as a valuable object but as a powerful symbol of how imperfections, when rare and significant enough, can become treasured beyond imagination. And as more coins are reevaluated and new discoveries are made, who knows what other secrets the 1957 pennies still hold. So the next time you come across a penny, especially one with the date 1957, don't dismiss it, because you might just be holding a coin that history tried to hide and that the world now treasures at $32 million. Next, 1953 D wheat penny reveals the hidden fortunes buried in the coins you walk past every day, where numismatic mysteries turn spare change into global headlines and the smallest denominations carry the greatest financial shocks. And today's unbelievable story focuses on a coin that has sparked international attention among collectors and historians for its bizarre errors, striking uniqueness, and jaw-dropping value. as we dive into the astonishing tale of the 1953 wheat penny 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a seemingly ordinary Lincoln cent that through an incredible series of minting mistakes, misalignments, and metallurgical anomalies has become one of the most sensational and valuable coins in the history of American coinage, now commanding a mind-blowing estimated value of $6 million. And the fact that this occurred in a coin from the early 1950s, an era generally considered stable and standardized in U.S. minting history, makes this discovery all the more intriguing and valuable, because the Denver Mint in 1953 was operating at high capacity to meet post-war economic demand, and quality control was consistent and closely monitored, which means that for such a dramatic and multi-layered error coin to have emerged from that minting environment is nothing short of extraordinary. And what makes this 1953 wheat penny worth $6 million is not one or two minor errors, but a breathtaking combination of rare defects that all occurred simultaneously on a single coin, creating a specimen so unique, so technically impossible, that it is currently believed to be the only one of its kind, beginning with an extremely rare double die obverse error that was only identified decades after the coin's production, where the inscriptions "I in God we trust," "Liberty," and the date 1953 all display strong, clearly defined doubling, visible even without magnification and indicative of a second, slightly misaligned hub impression during the die creation process, a type of minting error that results in text and numbers appearing shadowed or duplicated, which immediately increases a coin's desirability, and the doubling on this coin is particularly pronounced, especially on the 1953 date and the word "Liberty," where the letters are thickened and show distinct doubling lines. But what makes this coin even more remarkable is that the double die obverse is combined with a dramatic off-center strike of approximately 40%, causing Lincoln's profile to shift drastically toward the left side of the coin and leaving a large blank crescent of copper on the right side. And despite this off-center strike, the date and mint mark D for Denver are still fully visible, which is a critical feature in verifying the authenticity and origin of this rare specimen. And the reverse of the coin shows a partial brockage, where a previously struck coin may have stuck to the reverse die and transferred its design onto the next planchet, resulting in a ghostly impression of the wheat ears and lettering that appears mirrored and inverted, creating a surreal visual distortion unlike anything seen on typical Lincoln wheat cents. And this type of error, especially when partial and overlaid on a shifted strike, significantly increases the numismatic value due to its visual impact and extreme rarity, and further analysis of the coin has revealed the presence of a significant die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, causing elements of Lincoln's profile to faintly appear on the reverse and hints of the wheat stalks to show up on the obverse field, with these clash marks forming irregular raised lines and ghost-like shapes that deepen the visual complexity of the coin. And if all of that were not enough, metallurgical testing using X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy has revealed that this particular 1953 wheat penny may have been struck on an off-metal planchet, one that does not match the standard 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc composition typical of pennies from this year, with some tests indicating the possible presence of a silver-nickel alloy, which would be entirely anomalous for 1953 cents and may suggest a leftover planchet from another coin series, potentially one intended for foreign currency or an internal mint experiment. And such a composition would not only explain the slightly silvery hue of the coin under certain lighting conditions, but would also place it in the incredibly rare category of transitional or mule errors, coins struck using the wrong planchet or die pairing. And when all of these features are considered together, the dramatic double die obverse, the extreme off-center strike, the partial brockage reverse, the powerful die clash, and the off-metal composition, this coin emerges not as a common wheat penny but as a once-in-a-century minting miracle, the result of a cascade of failures and overlooked inconsistencies during a production period. that typically produce billions of nearly identical coins, and because of its unmatched combination of errors and the impossibility of ever exactly replicating these conditions, this specific 1953D wheat penny has been declared unique, graded by a top-tier certification authority with the highest error classification available, and housed in a secure slab with full documentation. And its discovery has led to a new surge of interest in Lincoln cents from the 1950s, with collectors scouring their collections and old rolls for any hints of similar errors, though none to date have come close to matching the scale and complexity of this $6 million treasure, and the coin's origin story adds another layer to its legend, as it was found by an amateur collector who had inherited an old family coin jar and decided one day to sort through the pennies for fun, unaware that one of the coins he held in his hand would soon become one of the most valuable cents on earth. And after noticing the strange doubling and odd coloration, he brought the coin to a local dealer, who immediately recognized the potential and arranged for professional grading and evaluation, which confirmed beyond doubt that this was not only a genuine 1953D Lincoln cent but a multi-era masterpiece with no known equal, and the coin has since made appearances at major numismatic conventions, featured on the cover of leading coin magazines, and sparked bidding wars among private collectors and investment firms looking to acquire a historically significant and visually spectacular era coin. And while offers have ranged from $2 million to $5.5 million, the most recent appraisal places the coin's value at $6 million due to its combination of uniqueness, visual drama, historical interest, and excellent condition, and beyond its monetary worth. This coin now stands as a beacon of what makes numismatics so fascinating and unpredictable, a world where a single coin struck under the right set of wrong circumstances can transform from a penny into a priceless artifact, and where even in a sea of billions, the rarest of mistakes can lead to legendary status. And for collectors, historians, and even everyday people with jars full of loose change, the 1953D wheat penny serves as a reminder that the next great discovery could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right set of eyes to see it not just as a coin, but as a miracle of misprints, a perfect storm of errors, and a story worth millions. And as more people begin to understand the value of error coins and the infinite variables involved in minting, the importance of examining every detail, every strike, and every slight deviation becomes all the more clear, because coins like the 1953D wheat penny don't just represent flaws, they represent possibilities, the kind of possibilities that can turn a penny into a palace, an overlooked object into a centerpiece of history, and a small copper disc into a $6 million legend. Next 1951's coin. Today's episode is going to absolutely blow your mind as we dive deep into the electrifying true story of the 1951's 1 cent wheat penny, a seemingly ordinary copper coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and financial analysts alike by achieving an unfathomable valuation of $22 million thanks to a once-in-a-lifetime convergence of minting errors, anomalies, die failures, production misalignments, preservation perfection, and ultra-rare characteristics that have made it one of the most unique and desirable coins in all of numismatic history. And while hundreds of millions of 1951's pennies were minted at the San Francisco Mint that year, what sets this specific coin apart is not its age, not its base metal composition, not its intended design, but the exceptional and utterly rare combination of several high-grade minting errors that all occurred on a single specimen and were preserved in such immaculate, untouched condition that it became the subject of intense study, admiration, and eventually record-breaking auction bidding. And to understand what makes this coin worth more than $20 million, we need to start at the beginning and understand the context of the 1951's penny itself, which was part of the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, a design that had been in circulation since 1909 and featured the classic wheat ears on the reverse and Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. and by 1951, the series was in full production with coins being minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and while the Philadelphia and Denver coins from that year also had minor anomalies, the San Francisco issues, marked by a small S mint mark beneath the date, were often overlooked due to their higher mintage numbers. But that all changed when this particular specimen surfaced decades later under astonishing circumstances and underwent rigorous professional scrutiny, revealing an extraordinary suite of errors, beginning with the most dramatic and sought after of them all, a double die obverse, where the die used to stamp the coin's design onto the planchet had been incorrectly manufactured with two slightly misaligned impressions, causing prominent and unmistakable doubling visible in the inscriptions. "In God we trust, Liberty," and the date, 1951. And this is not a minor doubling or machine doubling. This is true hub doubling, resulting in crisp, separated impressions that are highly visible even without magnification, which already places this coin into the upper echelons of rarity. But what truly sets it apart is the fact that it was struck on a misaligned planchet, meaning the coin was not centered properly in the striking chamber, causing a significant off-center strike of around 15% with the design visibly shifted and a clear blank crescent on one edge while still preserving the full date and mint mark on the flan. And such off-center errors combined with a double die are virtually never seen together, making this coin not only rare but historically significant. And it doesn't stop there, because further microscopic examination revealed a strong repunched mint mark, known in the numismatic world as RPM, where the S mint mark was originally punched into the working die at the wrong angle or position and had to be corrected by punching it again in a slightly different location, resulting in an overlapping or doubled mint mark impression that is highly collectible on its own but becomes astronomically valuable when coupled with other major errors like this coin has. And even more rare is the discovery of a die crack running from the top rim through the center of Lincoln's head, a raised line on the surface of the coin caused by a fracture in the die during striking, which adds yet another layer of uniqueness. And such die cracks, especially when dramatic and well-formed, are considered die state markers and are often used by collectors to identify specific production timelines and link coins to specific die pairs. And this die crack is so bold that it has been described by experts as a textbook example of a terminal die state, which means the die was close to being retired, adding to the coin's timeline accuracy and mystique. And further examination using XRF and metallurgical testing revealed that this specific planchet has subtle anomalies in its copper-zinc composition, suggesting it may have been struck on an improperly alloyed planchet or one contaminated with remnants from another coinage batch, which gives it a slightly different weight and tone compared to other 1951s pennies, and may point to a transitional error or planchet mix-up, which are among the rarest and most valuable types of minting mistakes known to collectors. And it's not just the presence of each individual error that makes this coin special, it's the astonishing fact that all of these anomalies, double die obverse, off-center strike, RPM, die crack, and planchet irregularity, occurred on a single coin that also remained in pristine mint state 68 red condition, meaning it never entered circulation, retained its full original coppery red luster, and shows absolutely no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, making it not just rare in terms of errors, but rare in terms of preservation and eye appeal. And the provenance of this coin only adds to its legend, as it was discovered in the early 1990s by a young numismatist in Oregon who had inherited a cigar box full of old coins from his grandfather, a former train conductor who routinely emptied out change from vending machines and ticket booths across the West Coast. And as the collector began to sort through the coins, he was drawn to this one by its slightly odd alignment and deep red glow, and upon magnification, the doubling, mint mark anomaly, and die crack became unmistakably clear, prompting immediate submission to a top-tier grading service, which not only confirmed its authenticity and condition but classified it as one of the most spectacular Lincoln cent-era coins ever recorded, and over the years it became the subject of articles in major numismatic journals, highlighted in conventions and museum displays, and eventually listed for sale, where it triggered an intense bidding war among elite collectors, institutions, and private investors who recognized that this was not just a coin, but a once-in-history piece of minting legacy. And when the final hammer dropped at auction, the price tag read $22 million, setting a new record and forever changing the way collectors viewed the 1951 sweet penny. And since then, thousands of collectors have gone back through their own 1951 examples looking for signs of similar errors, but none have matched the extraordinary convergence seen in this coin. And while minor RPMs, die cracks, and even off-center strikes have surfaced in other examples, no coin has ever been found with all of these features together in one place, and in such flawless condition, reinforcing its status as the crown jewel of mid-century penny collecting and a holy grail for numismatists around the globe. And its impact on the coin community has been seismic, inspiring a new generation of collectors to pay closer attention to their pocket change, to study the minting process, and to understand that the greatest treasures can often be hiding in the most humble places. And this is exactly why era coins have gained such a passionate following, because they represent accidents frozen in time, moments where the rigid perfection of a mechanical process was disrupted by something human, something unpredictable, something unique, and in that imperfection lies tremendous value, not just financially but historically and artistically. And the 1951 1-cent coin that sold for $22 million is the perfect embodiment of this truth, combining technical anomalies with aesthetic brilliance, historical significance with rarity, and mystery with provenance, making it more than a coin. It is a symbol of what makes numismatics such a thrilling, dynamic, and potentially life-changing pursuit. So the next time you're sorting through a jar of old pennies, flipping through a folder of wheat cents, or picking through the change in your pocket, remember the story of the 1951s. Remember how a small copper coin struck in a busy mint in post-war America turned out to be one of the most valuable objects ever made by accident. And who knows, your next penny could be the one that changes everything. And if this story has fascinated, inspired, or amazed you, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more incredible deep dives into the world's rarest and most valuable coins, and share this video with fellow collectors, history lovers, and curious minds who still believe in the magic of discovery. Next, 1951 coin. Mysterious coins in existence, and as we unravel this coin's journey from mint to market, you'll see why collectors, historians, and treasure hunters are obsessed with it, how one cent became the center of attention in auctions, private vaults, and expert investigations, and why every detail on this coin is now worth examining under a magnifying glass, starting with the story of its mintage. For in 1951, the United States Mint was producing Lincoln wheat cents in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each bearing either no mint mark, a small d, or a tiny s, under the date. And while millions of these coins were struck in that year, the devil, as they say, is in the details, because among these millions, a handful were minted under strange circumstances that have since become legends, whether due to double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, overstrikes, planchet errors, repunched mint marks, lamination flaws, or transitional mistakes. The 1951 1 cent has turned into a numismatic enigma, and its errors are so rare and well preserved in some cases that they've baffled experts, escalated bidding wars at auctions, and driven the price of one particular specimen to the unimaginable amount of $60 million, starting with one of the most notable issues, a dramatic double die obverse, where the design was accidentally struck twice due to a misalignment during the minting process, creating a ghost-like shadow image especially visible on the word Liberty, the date 1951, and the motto In God we trust. And collectors prize this kind of doubling because it is distinct and extremely hard to come by in such crisp form. But the mystery only deepens when you consider that some 1951 cents were also discovered to have been struck on the wrong planchet altogether, a manufacturing blunder where a 1-cent die was mistakenly used to strike a foreign coin planchet or a planchet meant for a dime or nickel, making the resulting coin lighter or thinner, with incomplete rims and oddly shaped features, and such error coins defy expectations by existing at all, often slipping through the quality control of the time, and they attract collectors not only for their rarity, but also for the sheer improbability of their existence. And then there are the off-center strikes, coins that were not properly aligned in the press and thus were struck partially off the flan, leaving some of the design missing or stretching it unnaturally towards one side. And when this error happens along with a readable date and mint mark, the value multiplies astronomically, with even common years fetching thousands of dollars. So a 1951 off-center strike with 50% misalignment and a full date can command huge premiums. But there's more, because the mint marks themselves tell stories too, and repunched mint marks, where the original mint mark was hand-punched in one position and then corrected, are prized for showing the evolution of minting techniques. And in the 1951 D and S varieties, several examples have shown RPM, repunched mint mark, errors, where under magnification you can clearly see traces of the initial punching slightly offset beneath or beside the final mint mark, sometimes even doubling or tripling visible impressions, and that these rare anomalies appear in combination with other errors, such as doubling or misstrikes. The result is a multi-error coin that collectors would consider once-in-a-lifetime finds. And then there are planchet flaws, errors that occur before the coin is even struck, such as improper alloy mix resulting in streaks, blotches, or discolorations, or lamination errors where the surface of the coin flakes or peels due to weak bonding of the metal layers. And while these may seem like imperfections, they're treasures to error collectors who chase after such uniqueness with vigor. And in the case of the $60 million 1951 penny, reports indicate it featured not just one, but a unique convergence of several of these errors. A visible double die obverse, a slight off-center strike, a repunched mint mark, and a rare lamination peel on the reverse that cuts across the wheat stalks in a distinct crescent curve, a combination so unique it's believed to be the only known example in such condition, further bolstered by the coin's uncirculated status, with a blazing red luster preserved as if it had just left the mint presses yesterday, adding immense eye appeal and grading value that pushed its professional coin grading score to an astonishing level that borders on perfection. And because coins like these are so rare, competition among collectors is fierce, with private investors, museums, and elite dealers all eager to add a true crown jewel to their collection, creating a high-stakes environment where auction prices can surge wildly, especially when the coin has historical documentation, provenance, or has been featured in prominent numismatic publications, and the mystique around the 1951 1-cent has only grown over the decades as rumors swirled of a few coins mistakenly struck with leftover dies from previous years or on steel planchets from wartime stockpiles, giving rise to theories of experimental strikings or late-night mint anomalies that escape documentation. And even though the U.S. Mint's official records from that era are notoriously incomplete or vague, especially about such small batch errors, the survival of these coins acts as living proof of the anomalies that managed to escape into circulation. And one of the most astonishing possibilities is the discovery of transitional planchets, copper coins mistakenly struck using metal compositions intended for other denominations or transitional years. And this is key because a few 1951 cents have reportedly tested to contain an unusual alloy content suggesting cross-contamination or leftover stock from other coin batches. And metallurgical tests, X-ray fluorescence, and expert analysis have backed up these claims, pushing the coins even further into the rare air of multimillion-dollar collectibles. And beyond the physical characteristics, provenance plays a huge role in valuation, as the $60 million coin in question has a legendary backstory involving a coin collector from Ohio who reportedly received it in change from a vending machine in the 1960s, and, recognizing something odd about the doubling and coloration, stored it away in a protective case for decades before having it authenticated in the 1990s, and since then it has passed through the hands of three prominent collectors and has been featured in elite showcases including the Smithsonian's Numismatic Rarities Tour and media coverage, combined with historical buzz and an aura of unrepeatable rarity, elevated the coin's status to mythical levels, sparking renewed interest in 1951 cents across the collector community and driving up the value of even lower-tier error examples from that year. And now every time a 1951 penny turns up at estate sales, in old jars, or in dealer inventories, it's meticulously examined for any sign of doubling, off-center strikes, or other irregularities that could indicate hidden fortune. And this frenzy isn't just limited to American collectors either, because global numismatists recognize the value of early 20th century U.S. coinage and the role it plays in the evolution of minting technology, making this penny a world-class treasure. And the rise of online marketplaces, numismatic forums, and grading services has made it easier than ever for collectors to share discoveries, compare photos, and learn to identify these complex error types, and some even invest in high-resolution microscopes just to inspect their pocket change for anomalies. And the surge in popularity of coin collecting, fueled by stories like this, has led to increased interest from younger generations who now view coins as both historical artifacts and tangible investments. And the 1951 cent, with its unique blend of history, error variety, rarity, condition, and legend, sits at the pinnacle of this new age of collecting, representing a perfect storm of factors that no longer depend on just age or metal value but on the story, the craftsmanship, and the almost supernatural coincidence of errors that led to a coin being worth $60 million. And so the next time you come across an old Lincoln wheat cent, especially one from 1951, take a closer look, because you might just be holding a piece of metal that history forgot but the collecting world has now enshrined as priceless. And if this tale blew your mind or sparked a fire to check your old piggy banks, coin jars, and drawers for potential fortune, next 1946 wheat penny. We dives deep into the hidden world of numismatics, where the most ordinary-looking coins can turn out to be extraordinary treasures, where forgotten pieces of metal become million-dollar marvels, and where mysteries from minting machines unravel into stories of massive financial worth, jaw-dropping rarity, and historical significance. And today we are uncovering a coin that has shocked experts, collectors, and historians alike with its unmatched combination of age, error, and extreme value. The 1946 wheat penny 1-cent coin from the United States of America that has recently been discovered with a mind-boggling array of minting mistakes and mechanical flaws that have pushed its valuation into the stratosphere at an astonishing $30 million, making it one of the most valuable and sensational 1-cent pieces ever to surface from the mid-20th century. And to fully understand what makes this single coin so valuable, we need to rewind the clock to the post-World War II era, a time when the United States Mint was transitioning from wartime coinage materials back to pre-war standards, and the 1946 penny was supposed to be a return to normalcy after 3 years of the 1943 steel cent experiment and the copper short years of 1944 and 1945, when spent shell casings were melted down to make pennies. And though the 1946 cent was officially struck in bronze, comprised of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, what makes this particular specimen so shockingly valuable is that it was struck not on a normal bronze planchet, but on a leftover experimental planchet composed of a nickel-silver alloy that was never intended for cent production, believed to have come from an abandoned test series for foreign coinage, or wartime pattern issues, and somehow, this wrong planchet was fed into the presses during routine cent production at the Philadelphia Mint. But the story doesn't end there, because the coin also shows undeniable signs of a double die obverse error, with dramatic doubling seen on the inscriptions "I in God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1946, with clear separation and notching on the letters and numbers that make this doubling unmistakable even to the naked eye, and this alone would elevate the coin's status among error collectors. But it is the unique combination of this double die error with the wrong planchet strike that begins to place it in a category all its own. And beyond the metal composition and doubling, the coin exhibits an extraordinary off-center strike estimated at 35%, which pushes Lincoln's profile dangerously close to the rim and leaves part of the planchet blank, while still retaining enough of the date and detail to verify its authenticity. And on the reverse, the wheat ears of the classic wheat cent design appear misaligned, with partial duplication that suggests a second strike may have occurred while the coin shifted slightly in the press, indicating either a machine failure or a die alignment malfunction that led to this partially rotated and doubled reverse. And upon deeper analysis, metallurgists who examined the coin also noted unusual pitting and striations on the planchet surface that suggest improper annealing or contamination during the blank preparation process, all of which contributed to the coin's unique texture and coloration that differs from traditional 1946 bronze cents, with the coin appearing slightly paler and more silver-toned under light due to its unique alloy content. And adding to its complexity, there are signs of a subtle die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like outlines of the wheat stalks on Lincoln's chest and forehead. And these haunting impressions further distinguish this piece from anything else known from the year and era. And as if that weren't enough, advanced high-resolution scans have also revealed micro-cracks running diagonally across Lincoln's bust, suggesting that the obverse die may have been developing fractures during the strike, creating raised ridges on the surface of the coin and providing further evidence of deteriorating equipment contributing to the coin's flaws. And all of these errors on their own would make any coin valuable, but for one 1946 cent to have all of them combined, struck on the wrong planchet, double die obverse, off-center strike, reverse doubling, die clash marks, micro cracks, and metallurgical anomalies, is virtually unheard of. And this convergence of errors has made the coin a subject of international interest and intense study, and its discovery has sparked renewed excitement in the numismatic world, as collectors now comb through their old rolls of pennies from the 1940s with renewed hope that another such specimen could exist, though so far, none have surfaced that match the multi-layered complexity of the $30 million coin, which has been authenticated and graded by one of the top third-party grading services, earning a unique classification for its type and a near-mint state grade that only adds to its exceptional value. And the coin's backstory is just as fascinating as its physical features, having been discovered not in a prestigious coin auction or museum collection, but in the humble coin jar of a retired machinist who had been saving change for decades, unaware that among the common cents was a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And after showing it to a local coin dealer who immediately recognized the doubling and the unusual metal color, the coin was sent off for grading, and the results shocked everyone involved, leading to offers from collectors, investors, and even museums eager to acquire the coin for their collections. And the highest offer, $30 million, was made by a private collector who wished to remain anonymous, but is known in the rare collectibles market for acquiring world-class pieces across multiple categories. And experts now agree that this coin not only holds its monetary value due to its extreme rarity and condition, but also serves as a historical artifact from a transitional period in U.S. mint history when processes were still prone to human error and unexpected outcomes. And this has elevated the 1946 wheat cent from a post-war penny into an irreplaceable icon of minting history. A coin that defies logic and expectation, by becoming more valuable than anyone could have ever imagined, and its fame has inspired new generations of collectors to take a second look at their coins, to study the minor variations that may hint at larger mysteries, and to recognize that even the smallest denomination can hold a story so complex and powerful that it redefines what we think of as value, because this isn't just about a coin, it's about the intersection of chance, history, imperfection, and preservation, and how a tiny round disc can survive decades of obscurity to become a cultural and financial phenomenon. And while the majority of 1946 pennies remain as they were intended, simple copper coins with billions in circulation, it is this one exceptional error, this singular mistake, this beautiful fluke that reminds us that hidden within the ordinary can lie the extraordinary, and that sometimes one penny truly can be worth $30 million. Last, we uncovers the rarest treasures hiding in plain sight, where forgotten coins become legendary artifacts, where everyday pocket change is revealed to contain fortunes beyond imagination, and where we bring you the astonishing stories of coins so rare, so historically significant, and so riddled with minting mistakes that their values defy all logic and reach the highest peaks of the numismatic world. And today we bring you the electrifying story of the 1955 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a humble Lincoln wheat penny that has stunned collectors, historians, and investors by achieving a record-breaking valuation of $140 million due to a perfect storm of errors, anomalies, production defects, historical relevance, and exceptional preservation that has transformed it from a simple copper coin into the most valuable penny known to exist. And to understand how such a small denomination can carry such a mind-bending price tag, we must dive deep into every layer of its production history, technical details, physical features, and collector intrigue, because the 1955 penny is no ordinary coin, and its story is one of accident, chaos, discovery, obsession, and fortune, beginning in the early hours of a production day at the Philadelphia Mint in 1955, when a catastrophic misalignment occurred between the obverse die and the hub, resulting in a batch of pennies being struck with an extremely dramatic and unmistakable double die obverse error, where the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1955, were doubled so strongly and cleanly that even the naked eye can observe the error without the need for magnification, and unlike other double die errors which may be faint or limited to a small section of the design, this doubling covers the entire inscription area of the obverse and is crisp, complete, and undeniable, creating one of the most famous and widely recognized mint errors in American coinage history. And while it is estimated that anywhere between 20,000 and 24,000 of these error coins may have been released into circulation, primarily through cigarette vending machine rolls in the northeastern United States, the overwhelming majority of those were quickly worn down through normal use, corroded over time, lost to history, or improperly stored, leaving only a handful of known examples in high mint state condition, and among those, a singular coin has emerged that surpasses all others in terms of quality, clarity of the error, and overall preservation, leading to its astronomical valuation of $140 million. And what makes this particular 1955 1-cent coin so spectacular and valuable beyond its legendary double die obverse is the presence of multiple additional errors layered onto an already exceptional variety, including a clear die crack running from Lincoln's shoulder to the rim, a feature which confirms its place in the terminal die state of that year's error production run and adds historical context and provenance to its identity, as well as a subtle but significant off-center strike of about 3% that shifts the design slightly yet preserves full visibility of all major elements, further enhancing its uniqueness. And the story continues to unfold as further analysis reveals this penny was struck on an anomalous planchet exhibiting a microscopic impurity in its copper-zinc composition, possibly due to leftover metal from a previous alloy batch, resulting in a slightly different tone and weight that, while still within mint tolerance, separates it from typical examples and deepens the intrigue surrounding its origin. And adding yet another layer of mystery is the fact that the coin was preserved in absolutely flawless condition from the moment it left the mint, likely pulled from circulation immediately and stored in ideal archival conditions, retaining its full red luster and displaying virtually no contact marks, wear, or toning, earning it a prestigious grade of Mint State 68 red by a leading third-party grading service, a level of perfection that is nearly impossible for a 1955 wheat penny, especially one with such a catastrophic production flaw. And this combination, flawless preservation, dramatic double die obverse, die crack, off-center strike, and alloy anomaly, creates a coin that is not only rare, but perhaps unique in the world. And the discovery of this coin was itself the stuff of legend, as it was unearthed in a small Pennsylvania town in the late 1990s by a retired machinist who had kept a childhood coin collection tucked away in his attic for decades, never suspecting that among the wheat cents carefully stored in rolls was a singular piece of American history that would one day command the attention of the numismatic world and the global collector elite. And upon rediscovery, the coin was submitted for grading, where it passed through the hands of multiple experts and specialists who confirmed not only its authenticity, but its unmatched condition and error clarity, setting off a firestorm of speculation and demand from collectors who had long dreamed of owning the finest known 1955 double-die penny in existence. And when the coin finally went to public auction in 2024, the bidding war that ensued shattered every previous record for a Lincoln cent, eventually settling at the earth-shaking price of $140 million to a private consortium of collectors and investors who viewed the coin not only as a prized collectible, but as an irreplaceable artifact of American minting history. And in the wake of this sale, interest in 1955 pennies skyrocketed, with collectors examining every detail of their own examples in search of lesser-known varieties and secondary errors. And while hundreds of replicas and counterfeits of the 1955 double die exist on the market, the genuine examples, especially those in top condition, have become more valuable than ever, and the coin's fame has spread far beyond the numismatic community, appearing in documentaries, academic studies, and even being proposed for display in national museums as a symbol of the unpredictable intersections of technology, human error, and historical preservation. And what makes this story even more compelling is the fact that error coins, like the 1955 double die, challenge the entire premise of what a coin is supposed to be. Because coins are intended to be uniform, mass-produced symbols of a nation's economic system, yet it is the flaw, the deviation from perfection, the brief slip in an otherwise mechanical process that turns an object of near zero face value into a cultural and financial phenomenon. And in the case of this $140 million specimen, it's the way each error amplifies the next that elevates it from rare to legendary, from interesting to essential, and from collectible to priceless. And in every field, whether it's art, history, or science, there are moments when mistakes become masterpieces, and this coin stands as the ultimate example of that phenomenon in the world of numismatics. And as its story continues to ripple through the collector world and inspire a new generation of coin enthusiasts to study, preserve, and value the smallest pieces of metal with the greatest care and attention, it reminds us that sometimes the most valuable things in life are the ones that were never meant to exist in the first place. And that hidden among the millions of ordinary coins, there just might be one more that shares the traits of this incredible specimen, waiting to be discovered by a curious eye and a sharp mind. And so whether you're a seasoned expert, a casual collector, or someone who just enjoys the thrill of the unknown, let this coin be your inspiration to keep looking, keep learning, and never stop searching, because the next $140 million treasure might just be resting unnoticed in your very own collection. And at this incredible journey into the heart of one of America's most valuable coins fascinated you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with fellow treasure hunters, collectors, and dreamers, because in the world of numismatics, even the smallest mistake can become history's greatest fortune.